Good morning.
Good morning, Barry.
Morning, how are you?
I'm alright. Salute.
Salute. It's coffee. This is salute to coffee.
Sure, is that bad luck when there's no any
I have no idea.
boozy
Anyway,
booze?
we're going to reply to some comments this morning on the channel because it's been an interesting few days on the channel. It's always good to create conversation. And I'll let Karen read out one of the comments first.
First comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. As someone still stuck in the third world UK, you're better off where you are, much safer.
Yes, and we think that
Interesting.
that's an interesting comment. And here's a message to you, the viewer: is the UK that bad? Obviously, we've now been in Spain for 5 years.
Yeah.
And from your perspective, I mean, we can watch the news, we can watch the media, and I'm not one for doing it because I think that the narrative that the media generally has. But it would be good to get comments for you. There's been a lot of comments on the channel on some videos, but pass this out to people that you know. Is the UK as bad as what we're seeing on other YouTube channels? I mean, I watch some YouTube channels, and is the UK lost?
I mean, I think if somebody living in the UK is describing it now as a third world country, I mean, it's an old term, but it's quite surprising. I know things are bad. I know a lot of people that aren't happy.
Yeah.
But is it really that bad?
Spain's not an oasis. It's not a paradise.
No.
It's becoming, and by the way, there's lots of parts of Spain that people are just like you. They don't like foreigners. There's big parts of Spain where they are just like people in the UK, and they don't like foreigners. And we know this, and we don't hide from the fact that this does happen. As I've just killed a mosquito that's tried to bite me. Mosquito nil, Baz 1. But so, anyway, going to the next comment.
The next comment is: Britain treats their people like second-class citizens. Plenty of British people will be getting a flight and leaving. Another quite extreme comment.
Getting a flight and leaving to where? The next comment that we read is this is one of the. You could actually sound smug at this point and say we told you so, and this is why we left the UK.
But we're not smug about it.
Yeah, no.
When we had the foresight.
Yes.
But this was something we wanted to do a long time before Brexit was even a concept, before it was even a thing or something to consider.
Yeah.
This was in the long-term life plans.
Yeah.
So it wasn't because of Brexit we did it a lot quicker and sooner than we probably would have done.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But
definitely,
it was something that we were always going to do. So yeah, slight difference.
I mean, when I look at the floor restoration business, I still would have been doing that back in Edinburgh. Mm-hmm. When I see my mates that all are in the same trade back home, business is booming for them. They're all doing great. And I suppose it's what you see, because my social media, my Facebook is a lot of colleagues that are still in the industry back home. The floor restoration industry.
And the majority seem to be doing
and
okay.
They're all doing fine.
Well.
And I don't.
A couple of them doing really well.
Yeah, and I don't see where the negativity is coming from the country. But then I'm not there, so that's why we're kind of asking the question,
And obviously, the majority of our family and friends live in Scotland.
Yeah.
We do have people in England as well.
Yeah.
I've got friends in Wales. Is it the same all over? Is this restricted to certain parts of the UK?
Yeah.
That it's really getting really, really bad?
It'll be interesting to find out, and hopefully we can get as many people commenting on this as possible.
Yeah.
Just to, just to let us know: is the UK really that bad? And if people are looking to move, where do you want to move to? And that takes us to the next comment.
The next one. It used to be so easy for Brits to relocate to Spain to live, work, study or retire. Then along came Brexit, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes.
That's a phrase we hear a lot.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter what camp you're in. I don't want this to become because I could turn around and say, well, the NHS is struggling just now. Mm-hmm. But you were sold Brexit on a bus that said £350 million
for the NHS.
For the NHS every week.
They were also sold on
And securing the borders.
Securing borders and things. And I believe if the statistics are correct in what I read, in 2025, in the last 6 months alone, I think there's been 20,000 illegal immigrants entering the country. There's obviously a big difference between illegal immigrants and legal immigrants coming in.
Do you know the weird thing about the whole boat situation that I find is remember, about 2 weeks ago, I was tracking an aircraft, and all that came up was that this aircraft, it was a UK government aircraft. Now this was flying up and down the channel, the English Channel, and if there's boats coming across, obviously this aircraft would be able to spot the boats, and you know, we would have a border force that obviously, I don't know, but it was an unnamed aircraft, and it was flying about the channel for about 2 or 3 hours, you know, circling up and down the channel between France and England, and it was obviously looking for illegal immigrants. But then back to the Brexit thing. I mean, it is the reason that we jumped ship, and it's, you know, there was one comment that I seen on the channel that someone says that I was a disgrace to Scotland because I mentioned the United Kingdom and that we're not part of a United Kingdom. Well, we are.
Well, unfortunately, you are, because we lost that vote, didn't we?
Yeah,
and you know whose fault's that?
And it's like, and I can remember going back. I was in Barcelona before. This is going down a whole rabbit hole, this one, but I was in Barcelona before the independence vote, and I can remember seeing I call them old Victorian floors, the old Victorian houses in Edinburgh, and they have these tile floors, and there was the same floors in Barcelona, and I can remember saying to my mates then, I was like, if we do not vote for independence, I'm moving to Spain. There's tile floors in Spain, and here we are. But we digress. Anyway, we want to thank everyone who has commented. Is there any other comments that you're seeing?
I'm just having a quick scroll through just now.
Yeah, I just thought you might.
Yeah.
But today...
Somebody's commented, and this is in reference to people who are living in Spain, immigrants living in Spain, that have perhaps lost their job or become unemployed at some point, or for whatever reasons. How can you survive there? Can you apply for job seekers there? Like obviously in the UK, if you lose your job, you get certain benefits and things like that, depending on your circumstances. In Spain, no, you don't get the same help from the government that you do. There is help available. It depends if you've had a Spanish employer or if you were autonomous, self-employed. There's lots of different circumstances. But from what I know personally, from people I've spoken to in this situation personally, and that's both Spanish people and immigrants, the help is minimal. Yeah. You will struggle.
I think that's what it comes down to, as well as people will say that it's the benefit. People like to blame the benefit system in the UK. And I mean, you could say that it's not just the benefit system, it's the way that the house and the property market's set up. And you know, there's a whole lot bigger issues going on that I'm seeing. I mean, my daughter works in the NHS, she's a psychiatric nurse. I see that the pressure that they're under, you know, it's sad when you see home in such a mess, I suppose, isn't it?
It is. Would you like another comment that people might be interested in?
Yes.
This is from someone who's lived in Madrid for about 30 years.
Yeah.
Now, this was on the video that you did when we were moved inland,
yeah.
but we didn't consider things when we moved inland,
yeah.
the heat and things like that. So this is quite interesting. I've lived in Madrid for the last 30 years. From June to September, so the summer,
yeah.
everything slowly closes down.
Yeah.
Work becomes more difficult and most companies close in August. Difficult to find work to get through this time, but still, I could never return to the UK. The problems we have now in Madrid are housing in general.
Yeah.
It's so expensive and the average salaries are much lower than their counterparts in other countries in Europe.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one.
Then that takes us to the whole anti-tourist protest. It's not anti-tourist
it's not
protest.
anti-tourist,
It's
yeah.
anti-property.
It's anti the problems with mass tourism that have been created, but it's the government as well responsible for that.
Yeah, but
And
it's,
the house
if you look at the
builders.
if you look at the property market in Spain, property, Spain, people in Spain never used to use estate agents, and you call it, if it's the Americanization of the property market, you know, buying
Real
to
estate.
the whole real estate thing, you know, buying to make a profit was never a thing in Spain. It still isn't a thing in Spain. You don't buy a property to do it up and sell it on like you do in the UK. That's an Americanization, and I think that Spain is trying to. Well, they're falling out with the Americans as it is left, right and centre in a political nature. So it's no one that they're doing it when it comes to property. And that's the big issue. That is the big underlying issue that Spain has at the moment, is that people that are coming into Spain obviously are cash rich and have more money than what the Spanish do. And it's inflating the property prices. Hence the reason that you're having these tourists, they're calling it tourist protests, but the reality is are Spain trying to create a property crash? Now there's an interesting thought. To keep property prices low.
The thing is, in Spain, you and I both know, it's, you know, house prices tend to be set by the companies building the houses.
Yeah.
You know, they're pulling the strings. It's the property developers.
Yeah.
The people buying and renting these houses out
Yeah.
as well. It all goes hand in hand.
Who are incidentally predominantly Spanish.
Yeah.
And they say there's no money in Spain.
But when you look at the amount of Spanish
Yeah.
native companies, property developers, they're the ones building.
It's an interesting thought on a Saturday morning.
Oh, that was a lot for somebody that's not even had her first cup of coffee yet.
Well, I'm just about finished my cup.
Me too.
Hasta luego.
Oh, there you go.